Now, staying with the story, KZN Premier Tami Ntuli is with us for more on the province's response. Premier, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. I know you've got a lot on your hands that you need to deal with as well. Just very quickly, if you would be able to share with us just perhaps a quick status report, if possible, incidents of injuries, and dare I say a loss of life as well.
Yeah, Pakatwa, good evening to yourself and to the viewers at home. It's devastating, really, what has happened in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We've lost, in February alone, almost 21 people because of the weather pattern changing. And what is notable is that 14 are males and 5 are females. And to all the cases, 21 cases, 15 are a result of drownings, and then the six as a result of the structural defect falling over the people. And it's worrisome when you look at the districts that are also affected outside of eThekwini, which in fact shows that the problem is not only a problem of eThekwini, but you go to the likes of Ogu, you go to the likes of KZN, which is Zululand, you go to King Ejwa, you go to Mkanyabuda, Majuba. All those districts are affected, and our teams, led by COGTA, they are on the ground working with a human settlement and eThekwini. In the case of eThekwini, as we speak, they are the ones that are currently affected in terms of the report that we have received. They are currently, in fact, trying to ensure that they save lives, continuing with some searches of a woman who was also washed away by the water. Yeah. So it's a serious problem that we are faced with. Hence, one has called on support in order to ensure that the people they are able to have daily needs. Well, we have received some that I will be announcing soon, but we are trying to do everything to ensure that people and do not get much of the devastation more than what has already happened.
It's going to need a monumental effort then, because emergency response has to be quite high here as well, as everyone who needs to be alert. How is the province's administration dealing with the lack of housing, the infrastructure damage that is being caused here, etc.? I mean, there's a lot of people around the province who have asked to be, to have the process of evacuation expedited if need be as well. How are you dealing with where you put everyone post their homes, of course, needing to be evacuated?
Well, there are two things. The first one, the disaster fund is with a national government. Each time there is a disaster, we report to a national department of human settlement to try and come on board. They do assist with the provision of the material. However, there is a long-term plan, in fact, which we have been working quite very hard as from 2022 floods, the issue of identification of pieces of land and the processes to make the land be rezoned, the bulk infrastructure, so that we can be able to rebuild the lives of the people. That is the process we are currently undergoing. Some of the victims from Lamont, they have been hosted in one of the accommodations along the beaches with, in fact, an intention of looking for a place wherein they can be hosted for some times until the plan of assisting those who cannot build or rebuild to be able to be assisted to have a proper shelter. That is how, in fact, all is being put together between the Department of COGTA, Human Settlement, and the eThekwini Municipality for that instance. But for areas outside of eThekwini, the Department of COGTA and Human Settlement, they also go together to ensure that they see to it that people in fact, their life is reinstated to normality.
Yeah. It's not the best time to be talking about money, I know, Premier, but it's money that will ultimately be able to help people in a situation like this. Are you able to share exactly how much money is within this National Disaster Fund? An amount of 20 million has been touted as being what might be needed in order to fix things. Is that the correct figure? And just how much is in that National Disaster Fund?
Well, I'm not the most appropriate one to indicate how much they have at the National Disaster Fund, except that we have made a categorical plan. You see, it was as if we're anticipating more challenges of the floods, because what we actually did, we called all municipalities in KwaZulu-Natal, and we spoke about the issue of climate change. We tried to sensitize and to alert the residents about the importance of responding quite positively to the weather alerts, which are given by the Weather Services Authority and also by COGTA and other departments that would also feel a need to contribute so that they know what to do. The fundamental thing, as you have seen, that most of the cases are because of drowning. We have repeatedly mentioned that for the people who are having their houses in an area that is low lying, they're prone to the floods, they need to move when the alerts are signifying that there could be some floods in those areas. And other issues such as crossing the river that is flooded, we have been repeatedly mentioning that. And it's a call that we're still giving even today, because these drownings, the majority of them, more than 70%, are as a result of people who were crossing the river either by car or either just walking, trying to cross the flooded river. There are things that we need to do in order to prevent the further loss of life, because in our view, even the manner in which the building material is being prepared, it must be friendly to the changing climate, and the engineers and the land surveyors, town planners that are there, they need to really work hard in order to ensure that they point to a hazardous area, so that we make people aware that in your area, there are hazards, that if there could be more rain, you have a potential to lose whatever you have.
Premier, so just with regards to the amount needed at present, are you aware of that at all?
Well, they're putting together the report. They've just sent the report as I just came into the meeting, and we'll be convening an urgent meeting so that they table it in the cabinet. But they've just put together the report. They've just we speak.
All right, Premier, we are having a bit of a scratchy line, but we'll continue nonetheless. Premier, just with, I believe the minister is coming as well this week, just ultimately the message that will ultimately be sent.
Well, it's quite very important that we all work together, we go together to the affected families, so that we try to send our condolences, give comfort to the affected families, and at the same time trying to ensure that we expedite the services that will help the people to rebuild their lives, because this is what is important, that people need to get back into their normal life, while we send condolences and supporting those with funerals that are affected by losing some family members.
If people are in need of further information on where perhaps the halls might be that they need to be evacuated to in terms of all of that, do you know where people can get that?
Yes, in particular, Tegwin, that is mostly affected as we speak. They can conduct the disaster center in Tegwin Metro, and also our provincial disaster center. They must conduct them. They will be able to assist with the information.
All right, the Provincial Disaster Centre as well being a key place to get any further information. Premier, thank you so much for the time. I know very busy as well, so we appreciate you giving us an update as well, just with regards to the latest on the flooding in and around the KZN area. Just as a final question, if I may, actually something that has just come to my mind, is it time to relook infrastructure within the province? It's not the first time a flood like this has happened, everything from drainage right through to piping as well. Is it time to look at all of those elements and relook at it?
I think because it's a call that we made a long time ago to municipalities, advising them, understanding the limitations in terms of the equitable share they receive, but advising them that it's important that they put aside some amount of money to address the issue of stormwater drainages. I know that in some of the areas they have done it, but due to the amount of money that is required, they've not, in fact, covered almost all the areas. It's a call that was still putting an emphasis that is quite very important that the infrastructure is attended to.
Yeah, the infrastructure is certainly going to need a lot of work from this point on. One can imagine a tough task ahead. Premier, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Premier Tamin Ntuli, the KwaZulu-Natal Premier then of KZN, as we, of course, try to get just the latest with regards to those floods, the reconstruction efforts, the evacuation and the like as well. We'll continue to follow up